Projek Monorail di Putrajaya bakal dilaksanakan semula setelah terhenti 16 tahun lalu pada 2004.
Apabila siap kelak ia akan dilebarkan ke Kajang, Bangi dan Cyberjaya bakal disiapkan pada 2025.
Jom.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Come.
The Putrajaya Monorail project is a transit system proposed by the Putrajaya's Transport Master Plan with the aim to address the city's future public transportation demand. The contractor that has been entrusted with the designing, building, operating and maintaining the proposed monorail transit system was M-Trans Monorail Sdn Bhd. Originally, Putrajaya was planned to have a light rail system, but as under construction for the aforementioned system began, the plans were revised and a monorail plan was chosen instead. There are two lines proposed, which is line 1 is 13.2 km long with 18 stations, while line 2 is 6.8 km long with 7 stations. The line would allow transfers to the existing Kalai Transit, which connect Kuala Lumpur and Kuala Lumpur International Airport, and the currently under construction MRT Putrajaya line, and it was also scheduled to connect between Putrajaya Convention Centre, Putrajaya Mosque and the Government Administrative Complex. However, the construction stopped in 2004 due to the federal budget constraints, as well as the officials want to wait for the city to grow to the point where ridership would justify the system. The project was postponed after civil works totaling 400 million of ringgits were completed. There were many times where this issue was mentioned, but there was no follow-up taken. The Putrajaya Corporation, PPJ itself, had appointed a local consulting company to study on the appropriate financial model in order to continue the project. And later on in 2012, the president of PPJ also put forward a proposal for the construction, and the other president also brought up these issues in 2014, but there was still no action taken. The story continues in 2016, where the Federal Territories Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan Mansor proposed trams as an appropriate alternative to the abandoned monorail project in Putrajaya, and it was planned to be introduced in Putrajaya and Cyberjaya within 3 years. The latest in October 2020, the government announced it has opened a request for bid process to complete the project in 3 months. However, the RFP has not yet been released as of 2021.
Okay, so the Putrajaya Monorail was meant to be a light rail transit system inside the city that consists of two lines, which the first line has 18 stations with distance around 3.2 km, while the second line with 7 stations, which is around 6.8 km. So the project remained incomplete as the rails were not completed because of the budgetary issues that happened during the year. So the building of monorails has started during the year of 1996 and ended in 2004 because the government does not have enough budget to support the civil workers to be paid for completing the project. So the estimated cost for the Putrajaya Monorail project was around 400 million, including the salaries that need to be paid to the civil workers. So other than the budget constraint, the Putrajaya population during the year also become one of the reasons why the project has stopped to continue. So this problem has led to a non-viable rail system to be operated, which during the year, there were only 90,000 people staying at Putrajaya. So this made the ridership of people can only reach around 120,000, which does not give too much profit from the money that's spent for the project. So these two problems, which is budget constraint and also the lack in population at the Putrajaya during the year, has made the developer to stop continuing the Putrajaya Monorail project.
As for the solution, actually in 2019, Putrajaya Corporation has decided to sell 80% of their Nadi Putra stock to the GEPS Global. So actually this lead to Putrajaya to have the funds to restart back the monorail project. However, even though the suspension bridge and also the tunnels of the Monorail project is already done, but the cost to continuing back this project is estimated to cost about 2 billion ringgit. So that is why the government decided to release an RFP, which is request for proposal, to any companies that are interested in continuing the project. So the Minister of Federal Territories, which is Tan Sri Anwar Musa, he mentioned that the RFP will allow the government to work hand in hand with private sector in order to ensure the success of the project. So in the press meeting in October 2020, he mentioned that the ministry will welcome any proposal after the issue of the RFP in 3 months. However, a year after that press meeting, there are still no news about the RFP or about the proposal. But the Deputy Minister of Transportation, which is Datuk Henry, he mentioned that the Putrajaya Monorail will complete in 2025, but he did not specify the date of the completion or about the proposal and also the RFP.
The first recommendation for Putrajaya Monorail is by using tram system. It has been proposed by Tan Sri Anwar Musa, Minister of Federal Territories. This is because the technology chosen will have a significant impact on the cost of construction and asset acquisition for the Putrajaya Monorail. According to Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan Mansor, he claimed that the government perceived trams to be a less expensive and more acceptable option. In order to determine and measure performance in a monorail project, it must emphasize cost, time and quality of the project. When any of these variables fails to meet the project's initial objective, it is commonly assumed that the project was not a complete success or even failed. For example, in Nigeria, due to the inconsistencies and insufficient cost management methods, most government building projects are not completed on time or on budget, but are of good quality. Hence, it is vital to recognize the Putrajaya monorail costs, tools and techniques, such as by utilizing the critical path method, program evaluation and review technique, and net present value, which have long been used to track and control construction project cost, schedule and quality. Tram system aims to relieve traffic congestion in city centers by providing a speedy, dependable and high-quality alternative to driving. Other benefits of tram systems include helping to combat climate change, reducing air pollution produced by automotive emissions, making cities more inviting to visitors, and adding to the worth of a city, while also contributing to economic redevelopment. Sao Paulo, one of country's major cities, is on schedule to finish its Line 17 monorail, an 18-kilometer driverless system that will shorten journey time from 2 hours by vehicle to only 50 minutes by monorail. Monorail project development tends to be significantly linked to quickly rising economies around the world, as it is in Brazil, where urban regions account for 85% of the population.
Next, the second recommendation for the Putrajaya monorails is to use the rubber tires as the wheels of the monorails. Rubber tires are an integral component of the majority of ground vehicles. For example, rubber tires is used for the vehicles like cars, bicycles, and also motorcycles. Thus, the idea of using rubber tires as the wheels of the monorail can make this project going smoothly and also successfully. Other than that, there are a lot of countries that already use rubber tires for their monorails and also subway. For example, the country that used rubber tires for their subway is in Paris. When Paris first installed the tires, the system's primary goal was to increase the capacity. Other than Paris, the Sapporo subway in Japan also uses rubber tire for their subways. Next, for the Putrajaya monorails, if the project will continue operating, they should use rubber tire as the wheels for the monorails. Putrajaya monorails are built in the city of Putrajaya, and rubber tires are ideal because they can reduce hissing sounds since there are many workplaces and homes around Putrajaya.